What's happening, everyone? We're back today with another video on the ST. We're going to be doing something a bit different. We're going to be doing the Mark II focused heater controls mod, just to change the rest of the actual controls here to blue, so it will match the dash. And obviously some of the other switches here, this one likes to just not work sometimes. But yeah, so what we're going to be doing is we'll just get this piece of trim off here, get the radio out, and then we'll be able to actually remove this section here. So let's get to it. Okay, so we're just going to start off with just removing these tiny little switches here and the coin holder, whatever it is, just by prying them out. Like so. These ones are a bit tight, so just bear that in mind. You don't have much movement on them. Just get your finger or screwdriver in and it'll unplug. So that's them two out. Okay, so now time for the radio. Got myself a set of radio keys, so I'll quickly just open these up. Okay, once they're clicked in, it should pretty much just come out. So if I push that in, so for the left hand side you want the key to go in this way, in, and then for the right hand side this way and then in. So if I put it in this way on the left hand side, it will click in and you can't get it out. So now that the radio is somewhat out, you'll have a green cable here that you remove just by pulling. Nothing too crazy. It looks like someone's done a lovely fucking repair on my radio. Great. So the next one is just a little tab in here that you'll press with a screwdriver, and it should release a little arm here that's on like a pivot, as you can see. So once I get that released, I'll show you what you need to do. Okay, once it's released, you just pull the arm up, because some dickheads put a fucking Scotch block in, but not the ideal way to do it, being that my snap-on scanner's right there. So I'll move that. But yeah, as you can see there, that arm pivots up and down. But I'm gonna have to do something about this plug. That's not good at all. So next step, there will be two Phillips screws, one in here and one in here, which I'll just quickly show you. One there and one there. So quickly just pull that out. Okay, the screws are stuck in there for some reason. Right, we'll leave that, it's fine. Right, so now you want to just gently, should use my trim tool really, but you just want to go around the outside here with a trim tool or a screwdriver of some sort and just gently pry and it should release. Okay, that's one side. That's the other. I'm just going to unplug the hazards like that. And there should be 2 screws here, but someone's already removed them in the past. But just bear that in mind. Anything else? Yep, there's one just in there. And Ford have decided to be arseholes and make it a torque, so it is literally just there. So I'm just going to remove that quickly, and then we should be able to pull this out. I'm going to try and cheat and do it with a flathead, because I left my Torxes indoors and I can't be able to go get them. But use a Torx, please. Don't do what I'm doing. Like so, little Torx bit, looks like T20. Save you the grief. And now, without destroying anything too much, we should be able to sort of get this out. Remember, be careful your wiring looms, don't tug, just gently ease it out. There is a slight clip for your loom here, which I've just realised, just there where my finger is, so just get like a little screwdriver either end and then just poke it through, sort of thing. Or if you want to be a boy and rip it out, then do that. Okay, right, now it's out. The screws finally want to come out now. Okay, so now we've done that. 2 more Phillips screws here and here. And then you've got a load of fuckery behind here. You've got a cable of some sort to do, you like your HVAC down there, which will need to be removed. Another cable here for your temperature, and then a multi-plug there for your fan. So again, that just looks like a little screwdriver either side. This one, I'm sure you would probably be able to pry out something, and then obviously that one's just a plug. So I'll pull it out and then I'll show you sort of what you need to do. I'll just get these screws out. Okay. Don't know if you can see, but through here there's a little hole there, and you just push the cable like just out. Now it's fucking got back in, you bastard. If I just push that back out again, leave that screwdriver in. Okay, so that's out now, which, as you can see, exposed it there. So now I've just got to unclip it from the other end. We have managed to get it out, thank God. Well, so he says. Right, but basically you've just got to, let me hold this cable. Fuck off. Right, so you got one tab here and one there, and it basically pokes out through this little hole here. So all you got to do is just push like either end with a screwdriver, and like just try and like persuade it out. Or what I should have done really, now I've just got a set of like long nose pliers either side, and then just did it that way really. But it's finally out, so what we're going to do now is disassemble this, show you the comparison with the Focus one indoors, because it's far too cold outside to be doing this sort of shit here. But yeah, once we get indoors and sort of get a rough idea on what we're doing, we'll get back to it. Okay, so the standard heater controls we've removed from the fascia plate now. So what we want to do is, well, it's just like a load of screws really. As you can see here, I've removed the bulbs as well, which go into here, and then you've got a screw there and a screw here. And to get one switch out, which I'll quickly show you now. Right, this one out here, you just twist to the right and pull, and this one as well, you twist to the right and pull as well. This one might be a bit tough, so just bear that in mind. And then you've got tabs either corner, you just want to push them in. It's already popped out, so there's that one. Okay, so that's off now, and you've got your little PCB here. We will be changing the colour of the AC and recirc buttons on the front here, so I will be removing these little things there and replacing these little bulb mount LEDs. I'm sure I've got both of them. I know I've got blue ones of these and white ones for a start. As for these, I'm not too sure what colours I have, but I am sure I've got either blue or white, so I'll be doing those too. So I suppose this sort of side of it is done. So what I'll be doing now is taking the Focus one apart, which is here, and pretty much doing the exact same thing, apart from the job's already been done for me pretty much due to it already being removed from the car. But I can see a few things are already different about it, so I'm going to have to just play this one by ear, I reckon, and go from there really. Okay, so I've already got two out, but you just okay, so now we've got the knobs off of the heater controls. We've also just prized it off the actual housing itself, as you can see here. Now we can discard the other part and just use this area now. So what we're going to be doing is now cutting the three sections into separate pieces. Which you'll see with the multi-tool here. And as you can see there, just slicing through each piece to get them into three separate sections, whereas they were joined. As you can see there, the fan one is off now. Just got to do one more cut and then that should be it. The multi-tool blade was quite blunt at this point, so it did take a bit longer than expected, because normally them blades are quite sharp and they just go for anything. But I find with plastic, they just either work or they don't. They're quite weird in that sense. And as you can see, make sure you get sort of an area like covered, because I didn't, and this is quite a messy job, especially if you did it the way I did it. Okay, so now what we've got to do is, this is quite a lengthy process, so I might just speed this up, but just quickly, we just got to basically trim them till they're sort of like a nice circle, so any excess parts around it need to be trimmed on each part that we've trimmed. And once we've done that, then basically they'll be ready to glue into the original fascia that we removed from the old heater controls. So I'm not really going to go into too much detail, I'll rather just show you sort of the end product. Just make sure you trim these more than what I did. You've got to get them virtually flat with nothing on them, because I glued mine in and then I realised when it was pretty much too late, because nothing fit and I had to trim the absolute shit out of everything. So just bear that in mind when you do this. But yeah, as you can see there, you've just got to trim to absolute pieces near enough, and any raised edges on them you've got to get flat, so it's literally just a flat circle near enough going into the new fascia. Okay, so they're pretty much all trimmed now to a flat surface, and I've sanded them to get any rough edges off, because I'll just use like a pair of snips to do this. Now I'm going to be placing them, as you can see there, into the fascia and just making sure they line up. But as you can see on my ones, they're still quite raised. You don't want them like that. You need to trim them so they're pretty much flat around the edges, so it will fit into the actual fascia, that like, or the actual housing, what's on the left hand side, the white housing. But as you can see there, we're just literally making sure it all lines up. Bit of final trimming, but again, doesn't mean shit here. And then we'll glue them into the actual fascia itself. Okay, so now we've got the actual PCB here with my soldering iron, and we're now trying to remove the solder off the like small SMDs on the board. I completely failed at this, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The solder on them small LEDs there, it was just nigh impossible to actually get off of the sucker. And also I just find, I don't know whether it's me just being a bit too rash with it, but I find the contact pads for these lamps are they're just shit. Like, I've worked with quite a few boards like off PlayStations and stuff like that, and phones, and the contact pads are quite like, they could take a bit of heat and a bit of battering sort of thing. Like, you can be quite aggressive with it. But the ones that like on these boards that Ford are using, like, some of them are okay, but a lot of them are just fucking wank, I'll be totally honest with you. So I'll be totally honest, I'm not really going to show too much detail here because these didn't end up working, but you can see where they're located. You've got a small one up on the top and then the big one on the bottom, if you did want to take this out yourself. If I do remember rightly, they are 1206 SMDs on the top and then 3206 on the bottom. As you can see there, I'm trying to prop it because it kept fucking moving. But yeah, I'm not really going to go too much into this. I just wanted to sort of show you how much of a fail I did. But yeah, I'm just pretty much going to move on to the next step now, because you don't really need to see this. It didn't work. I tried my best and failed, but yeah. So what I did fail to mention as well, so I do apologise, is the AC and recirc button off your old heater controls. What you've pulled out the ST, you will need to cut and separate from. There is like a little swage line. I would just literally guide it off that, because if you cut them like the focus ones correctly, it will just drop in. As you can see here, I'm starting to have proper fitment issues, like nothing's going, and I'm starting to get a bit frustrated. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know, because for some reason I did actually film me trimming this lower part. As you can see there, the buttons are just on their own, like in the fascia now, on the white housing. But for some reason the camera just like did not do it at all. And you can see in the background by my blue soldering iron the actual other half of where it's been trimmed. So as you can see now, I'm literally just cutting things to pieces. But I just wanted to sort of put that in the video in case you sort of thought, well, what about the other two buttons? Didn't want it becoming sort of misleading. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're literally just going to get this assembled up now, and I'll probably just put it to where it's actually fitted back into the car, because I'll be totally honest with you, it was an absolute nightmare. I had to do so much stuff to actually get this back on. My temperature knob was different to the one that was on my car, so I had to like cut a bit of the plastic off of the focus one and then slot it over the temperature knob onto my one, so I could actually have the metal knob to fit. Hopefully your one won't be like that, but as you can see, this video was sort of me just having a bash really, and just giving it my best efforts. Like, I've never done this before, it's quite new to me. Like, I prefer just sort of doing the nitty gritty on the car rather than the interior bits, as they're sort of the finer details. But this video is not, I wouldn't class it as a tutorial, it's more just me having a bash at something and showing you sort of how things can be on a car. And at the end of the day, we're all human, we're not perfect. So pretty much just a bit of info. You can see me struggling here and effing and blinding, hence why this part is voiced over, so I'm sure you don't want to hear that no more. But yeah, we'll pretty much just wrap this bit of footage up here and then move to sort of the next step on actually seeing it installed in the car. Okay, so we are somewhat back together. I just need to whack the radio and the fascia back on. I wanted to fit this radio for the time being because it has been modified to have a white LCD and blue buttons like my cluster. It was just given to me with the cluster, but unfortunately my radio code doesn't work with it, so I won't be doing that. I'll just put the old radio back in. I've got one on order anyway, but I've repaired the wires properly now to the radio, rather than having that stupid fucking connector block. Whoever did that is a tosser anyway. The only thing I'd mess up on was I tried changing the lamps for the recirc and the air conditioning button. Hold on a minute. Shut up. Right, so the AC and the recirc buttons, I tried changing the lamps for them, but I did fuck it up, I must admit. So I'll probably get a new PCB, but it was a nightmare. I had to cut one bit off the focus one, so the knob, like this style knob, could go on, and they don't really line up. I mean, look, if you see the notch here, it doesn't go like it goes all the way down to the bottom when it's hot, and then when it's cold stops about there. And obviously, which weren't even on properly anyway, but I'll sort. But yeah, I'm not best pleased with it, I'll be totally honest with you. So this is just a push fit anyway, so I'll just bang that back on quickly. Probably weren't on enough. But as you can see there, it's not very, like, that's number 4 and it's in between 0 and 1, so unless there's a way of like doing this, I don't know. Same with the like the directionals doesn't really line up. Like if you have it on the fucking window, it'll be blown in your face or whatever. I mean, it was more just have a crack and see what happens, but I mean, I might have to go to Mods and Flocks and see how much they do one for, and see if their one actually like lines up, because I would prefer that. But yeah, I mean, we give it a try. It lights up blue. It's only these buttons here, but not being funny. I couldn't give a flying fuck about them because I don't use them. Aircon doesn't even work on this car, and recirc don't even bother with that shit, if I'm honest with you. So, but yeah, let me just get this all back together, and we'll do like a sort of whether it is worth it or not, and go from there, really. Okay, so we're back together now. I don't mind all that down there. Car's like a skip at the minute. But as you can see, the radio is letting the side down. It's the only thing now that isn't blue. Even the door switches are blue. Or the headliner's blue. But yeah, so would I recommend doing this yourself? No. Don't even fucking bother. I mean, unless you've probably got the plastic knobs like the standard one on the ST150 has, I'd probably say yeah. But I mean, the amount of trimming that was involved to actually do these, I wouldn't even bother. It's like, it was, to me, it was like doing that fucking center console. I mean, a lot of you wouldn't know what I'm talking about, but I was meant to be putting an ST170 center console in this, and mate, it was just a fucking nightmare. I didn't even bother. So, I mean, I've got it done. Yeah, it looks great. I mean, well, it looks okay, I suppose. These buttons don't work and stuff like that. But I think once we get a new head unit and stuff like that, it'll probably grow on me a bit more. Or if not, if it does piss me off that much, then I'll probably, as I said, go to Mods and Flocks and probably just get one off them. I think I'll have to have a look how much they're charging. But yeah, I mean, you can give it a crack. Some people have done it and said, like, yep, they're really happy with it. But me personally, I don't like spending a lot of time on stupid shit like this, personally. Like, it's only a cosmetic thing, doesn't do nothing for the car. Okay, it may look a bit nicer, but I'd rather be doing something else to enhance the car and how it performs, rather than pissing around all day doing some poxy little heater controls. But that's just me. But yeah, if you do want to see more, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.